Hey everybody, welcome to ArcLive this week. Just to give you a quick rundown of the show, it's going to be pretty chill. You guys might have been able to catch a lot of Frosty Faustings this weekend. The first stop in America for the ArcLive World Tour. I'm going to introduce everybody here at the table. I'm Zotbuster, aka Art Kenny, either or. I'll be hosting today with KizzieKay, your Frosty Faustings Rev 2 champion. And so we're going to be going into that and talking to you a bunch about what that experience was like. Diving into match footage and sort of giving a breakdown on a lot of it, and then also a man who needs no introduction, Mr. James Chen.
How's everybody going?
Good to have you both here. Familiar with the show, you guys have been on a couple times each, I think, at this point. But just as a refresher for people who might not know who you are, James, why don't you start and sort of give a rundown on where you're from?
Sure, no problem. I'm from here, Southern California. I've just been doing fighting game commentary for a few years now. Was at Frosty Faustings. I got to do some commentary for Guilty Gear and for Blaze Blue Cross Tag as well. So, yeah.
That's nice. Cool. And then Kizzie, got to see you play a bunch this weekend. I think anybody who follows art games kind of knows a bit about who you are because you play just about everything we do. You're involved in like every single game, but why don't you give us a bit about yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm from SoCal. I play for UYU. I just recently won Frosty Faustings for Guilty Gear, so I am now qualified for the ArcLive Tour. So
congratulations,
go SoCal.
SoCal.
Go SoCal, exactly. Rep the hometown.
It's
exactly, dude.
Yeah, I was definitely one of the people in the crowd cheering out.
Yeah, same.
In foreign territory, you know.
Yeah, like one of the commentators, Sammy Fish, he was like, SoCal won. I was just like, yeah, SoCal won, dude.
I totally have that feel where it's just like, oh, when I come out and play in SoCal, I was like, oh, I lose to Kizzie and Jonah all the time. But then when I see you guys play in other regions, I'm just like, I want them to win so bad. Yeah. Like, come on, bring it home. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Super impressive from your gear play this weekend. I think a lot of people who watched were really impressed with how much I think that you prepared for that. So before we go into the match footage breakdown, you want to talk a little bit about how you prepared for the tournament? Because it's been sort of a minute since there was a Guilty Gear tournament in the United States that we really saw people play at.
Yeah, so one of the things that I prepared personally was, I think the most important thing is to learn is endurance. So one of the things that I practiced exclusively this year was playing for a long periods of time. And like keeping that will to like improve for a long period of time. Because sometimes when you play for so long, you burn yourself out and you start going into the same pattern. So I made sure that I didn't go to the same pattern, right? And I made sure I had a fresh start. And it's as if I've been playing for like 10 minutes, right? Yeah. So I try to keep that momentum going, and I practice that. And I also, study matchups that I really don't have the best knowledge to have. So I wanted to polish my skills exclusively for those matches and stuff like that. And one of the goals that I set for Frosties was not to lose a set. So thankfully I didn't lose a set.
Came a little close.
Twice.
Came a little close.
Came a little close twice, but
yes.
It happens though. I didn't. I still was able to keep my composure. And still.
I think one of the toughest things if anybody has competed in these games is you have to be so mentally present for such a long period of time. Like even though a set is maybe like 5 to 8 minutes, like it's like the most stressful
5 to 8
minutes of your life. Like, you have to be so cognizant of everything, and so congrats on keeping it clutch. Yeah, there were some really tense moments in there that we'll probably see. But congrats.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like I said, I kept it good. I was still stone cold face. I wasn't really like surprised. I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I nod my head. I acknowledged what happened.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, and I pushed forward. So.
Cool.
It's like a lot of people don't really realize that. You ask like, how did you prepare for it? And it's really interesting to me that you weren't even talking about like in the game. You're talking about kind of outside of the game. Yeah. And so much of that, when you're sitting at home watching a stream, you're just like getting your snacks and, chilling, whatever like that. It's so different when you're at the venue. Because it's like, I'm sure even when you're not playing, you're sitting there and you're stressed out about the next opponent too,
When you sit there in top 8 and you're just like, I got to fight the guy who wins this. Yeah. And you're just like, who do I want to fight?
Like you're actually when you're observing, it's like you're just looking at like what is this person taking advantage of this person? Why did this person win? Right. How did he win? How he's going to approach the game. like what he wants to do. You know what I mean? Like you have to like have that in mind, and when you sit down next to him, you have to also keep in mind that he could switch up at any time.
Yep.
So you also have to have a plan B after plan A. Yeah. So it's a lot of like mental, like I feel like it's a lot of mental work outside of the game.
Right.
Yeah. But once you have that work ethic outside of the game, then everything becomes natural inside of the game.
That's something that you and I had talked about before, like maybe like a year ago. It's like keeping the endurance up and how hard it is to like playing long sets like that, playing in a tournament for an entire day, especially since you entered how many games of Frosties, dude?
4.
4 games. So it's not even like you're just in gear, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't even just 4. It was like 4 of the biggest.
Yeah. Almost like all the biggest games you're entered.
Yeah.
So congrats again. I'm sure we'll be going over some of your match footage today, as well as some match footage of some other players, both from SoCal and out of SoCal for Rev2, BB Tag, and CF. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're just going to dive right into it. We have a ton of match footage for you guys to go through, and so we'll get that loaded up in just a second.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go. So we're going to start with some
Jonah and Elliot.
Jonah, obviously, we've had here on the show before, and he's one of my favorite guys to talk to because whenever you talk to him, like, how did you practice or how did you do this? He's always just like, well, you know.
That's the thing about Jonah is that I remember there was some interview with him before where people were kind of asking like, oh, how do you keep up with like BB Tag and Central Fiction? And his answer was sort of, I've been playing for so long that a lot of this comes second nature. And so he might be a little rusty because he's been focusing on BB Tag a lot, but a lot of those fundamentals still stick regardless of what you've been investing in. So.
And he's going against Elion, who was
Elliot.
He's a strong player. He got top 8 at BB Tag at Evo, right?
Yeah, and he's actually an OG Blaze Blue player.
Okay.
Playing Jubei too.
Yeah, he was an OG. He used to play around like CS1. He used to be a good net play friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
So
nice.
we go way back.
Do you know what character he played before Jubei?
It's been so long, he switched like 3 times.
Okay.
I just know.
Where in the States is he from? Do you know?
I don't remember. I know he used to play Ragnar as well. So,
okay.
He was a dynamic chooser, I would tell you that. But yeah, I think that's game.
Overhead, yeah.
What a way to end it too, man. I love that ending. That ending.
Hug it out.
Yeah.
I love it because like Jonah, that's his expression like 100% of the time.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
He always looks so calm. So
well, it's SKD versus
Losers Finals, and Jonah's a player who has multiple characters in the games, multiple teams in BB Tag. So here's one of his subs. If you watch any tournament footage, he'll swap up between Valkenheim and Mai depending on the matchup.
Because it was Climax of Night tournament that he won like 2 events, wasn't it?
Oh, it was CEO Taku.
It was CEO Taku.
Yeah.
He won both CF and BB Tag at CEO Taku, and that was the beginning of some of the lore we might get into today, where his opponent from CEO Taku definitely wanted that run back.
Yep.
But,
it's like a good story, bro. It's good anime.
It's a great anime story. Yeah.
Like he literally said, "I'm coming for the tournaments to get my revenge," and he completed his goal.
If you guys are kind of new to the FGC or in general, the more you follow players and tournaments, there start to be stories that form naturally, sort of like in wrestling. That's a really sick.
The first hit hit.
He had RC ready.
So he could just, like if any hit happens, he can legitimately just hit.
Right. And that kind of sucks for SKD because he like spent his overdrive on that. Yeah. But as I was like saying before, that was sick. You see a lot of like almost like WWE wrestling like storylines pop up, but it's real, and so it's fun to keep up with the players because you get these rivalries that pop up in like every single game storyline.
And that's just one of the cool things about it too, because like these players also play across games as well. You know, obviously something like Dragon Ball FighterZ, you know, at the start of it, just to even have that Goichi Sonic Fox story, you know what I mean, really fueled a lot of, I feel like, the drive, you know, for Dragon Ball.
And that was
just an awesome
right
story.
Off the bat.
Right.
Like, right off the bat, that was a...
And so the players are just like super important for a lot of these things. And, you know, it is cool that, you know, we get to see players like Jonah play multiple games, and Kizzie here, we're going to see him in multiple games. You got ninth, you said, in this tournament?
Yeah, I got ninth in Blaze Blue. I got beat up really badly.
Which character do you use in this game?
I play Jin Kizuragi.
Okay, nice.
Ooh, that's it. Wow, EA take it.
Yeah.
Super Kawaii Daisuke. SKD is super good. Oh, is this Dora?
Dora? It's grand finals right here.
Oh yeah, Dora Bang. This guy.
He's a legend, man.
Yeah, remember the year at EVO that was Galileo versus
2013.
Doguro, which was the crazy grand finals. Dora was actually the one who got third place. He was right under there. I think he was like cosplaying as Bang.
Yeah. He had the cape on.
Yeah. Like, he became such a fan favorite over there, and people love this guy.
Can you imagine how terrifying it is to run into someone in top 8 at EVO dressed as their character? And you're just like, you dress as your character, but you're in top 8. So like those two things combined, I'm terrified.
So you're like, if I beat you, are you gonna beat me up in real life? You know? You're gonna throw
doesn't always work. What about that Brian Fury cosplayer for that second tournament?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean is the scary part. Is you see someone in cosplay and it's like, oh, maybe they just really like the character. You know, they don't play too often. But no, Dora Bang in top 8, like this guy's a legend.
Yeah. And so obviously for him, it's probably very important for him to try to qualify because again, this is ArcLive World Tour.
Absolutely.
So to get into the grand finals, which is going to be in what, September in Los Angeles? Right?
There's no announced date yet, but the window for it is fall 2019.
Okay.
So just to give a refresher for you guys about the ArcLive World Tour, there's a bunch of stops both in the U.S. and abroad. We got places like tournaments in the U.S. and the EU and in Japan. And so there's a bunch of qualifying events where the winner of each tournament gets a slot in the finals at the end of this year with a bunch of money on the line. And so for a lot of players, this is the first U.S. event that a lot of people can go to because it's pretty hard to travel out of the country. And so, like,
it was even hard to get here, man. It was like the TSA shutdowns and the snow,
traffic,
Chicago,
traffic, you know. Like, goodness,
so this was one of the first like spots where people are really going to solidify both whether or not they get into the World Tour by winning, and then you also earn qualifying points by placing it in the top 8. And then the top point earner for each region gets a slot as well. And so even if you don't win this tournament, it's a good spot to rack up some early points if you want to try to get in that way.
Yeah, and also, you know, obviously, apologize to the viewers.
That was rude. That was disrespectful.
Oh.
That was like
sorry, James.
Sorry.
It's all good.
That cut you off.
That was a Guilty Gear air throw, like in Blaze Blue. And he look at SKD like, why'd you do me like that? Yeah. Come on.
No, one of the things I want to make sure we have a chance to do is give a shout outs to Elvin Shadow.
Absolutely.
Who runs Frosty Faustings, and honestly, shout outs to Arc System Works as well for partnering with Frosty Faustings.
Yeah, because man, let me tell you, Elvin Shadow is one of the most coolest people I remember.
Yeah,
totally.
Really nice, and he's for the community. He's hardcore, and he throws a party. Yeah, he throws a party. So shouts out to him, man. I hope you hear me, dog. Thank you very much, man.
He's been doing this for a while now. Frosty Faustings is getting bigger and bigger. And it's funny because I didn't even realize it yet. Because in my mind, it's still one of those grassroots small events. But it's like the 4th biggest event in the United States now, And so to see it grow, and not only have it be the 4th biggest, but also Guilty Gear is still the main game.
I think it's crazy, too. It's a 2-day event.
Yeah.
I think like...
You just perfect him? Oh my god.
Yeah, while we're talking about how great Elvin is. I'm going to work. Some tip damage. I was going to say, like, one of the coolest things about Elvin for me is that, like, putting on a major like this is so much work, and he still, like, keeps up with gear. Like, he is still, like, a force to be reckoned with in gear, too, which is dope. So.
He's still, Vi always describes it as being Shang Tsung, entering your own tournament, right? Yeah, and trying to beat everybody. So he's still in there.
Definitely not the kind of guy you want to run into in your pool.
Yo, we know even the dopest lore if he actually won his qualifier.
Dude, but then everybody would be like, they would all start studying the bracket.
Exactly, Look back at the bracket, like, oh, how'd you get here?
How'd you get here?
I'll tell you though, dude, that guy, he is the nicest guy. There's no way I would ever accuse him of anything except for putting on a good tournament. So.
Yeah, I definitely call him out on that. Hey, you good tournament organizer.
Pikachu over here.
Hey, you good tournament organizer, you.
How dare you run such
an awesome tournament.
Yeah.
So, Kizzie, to dive a bit more back into the match footage while it's here, you probably have the most BB knowledge out of everybody here. Wow, just wake up super. Where is Bang sort of on the character tier list?
He is like kind of like right under A.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's like since he's like a very explosive character. In this game, like they designed him to be like an explosive character. He can tend to like kind of like get in and out with like quick attacks, and it's all about like if you're able to play like in that speed,
right?
all the time. And you remember endurance, right? And sometimes the endurance it's very hard to keep up with that all the time. But he's a really solid character. He's not too bad. He's not too good. He definitely could be played. You know, I feel like this version of the game, he could be played. He can win as he just won.
Yeah, I mean, I also just love the fact that in between matches, like, he's asking, wait, so how does this work there? And they're just telling each other, even though they're in the grand finals, you know, but that's FGC for you right there.
That was an interesting OD choice back at him, but it worked out.
Yeah, I really like this match a lot because you see a lot of uses of both overdrive.
Yeah.
And SKD being like the Easy Yoi player himself, man, amazing player. Maximize Easy Yoi's strength, and then you have Dora who maximizes Bang. So like you get to see both of the overdrive and like outside of the character, just like really just be like used so much. It's so amazing, man.
Easy Yoi obviously very strong character with this with the air dash pressure and stuff.
She air thrown him there?
Yeah, she air
She actually called out the jump. That's crazy. Wow.
So, I mean, where does Easy Yoi fall into the?
I think Easy Yoi is the best character in the game right now.
Okay.
She's still sitting on the top. Living life, you know. She's
Johnny, you know, there
she's just a very strong, complete character. Has tools for everything, if played correctly. You know, like has the tools for everything. Really good damage. One thing that makes her really strong is she's always like hitting you. They may not do a lot of damage, but it's like the little hit points that she get on you, right? So sometimes she hits you for like 1900, then 1100, and you know that just adds up. You know what I mean? Like that two combo adds up to like a big hit damage. So
she's just got those mix-ups like the Eno mix-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
She's just in your face constantly.
Yes, and that was really good.
Those like empty like dash lows are ridiculous.
Yeah, so he has the bumpers. So what the bumpers do is when he jumps on them, he could like tri-dash like off it, right?
Yeah.
So he faked them out.
It's very similar to Answer, right?
Yeah, but it's like no recovery actually. It's just, you just hit him.
And I've seen Dora hit him with those empty little
lines. So right now he's like canceling to his like hover. To his glide, and he's doing overheads and stuff like that. So.
That was good defense for a while. But as I've always said in Arcs' games, you can only have good defense for so long. You're gonna get opened up eventually, just like now here. So.
Yep. And the cool thing about him is like this may be low damage, but that poison just added 500 more damage. Yeah. So his poison does 500 damage by itself.
Okay. So he's like Hawkeye.
Yeah, basically. Hawkeye was amazing mix-up.
When he does those like poison daggers into like relaunch on like he lands on the ground, it looks so good.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god, yeah, domination from Dora here. So.
Now we have Jonah versus Base.
Sorry, surprise. Now we have us.
You guys are still alive.
Shows us on the screen all staring up, you know, because we're all like watching the monitor and everything. Actually, we're all just deep in thought, right?
Totally, yeah. We'll talk about it a little bit. Base versus Jonah, that was losers semis? Or losers finals?
Well, I mean,
for Base versus
Jonah.
That was losers semi.
Okay.
But I mean, before even we get there, I mean, just like Dora, you got to imagine that guy is so ecstatic now to be able to qualify in the World Tour. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I wonder if he's gonna just chill now, or is he gonna try to go out to all the
he can. Part of the rule set for the World Tour is that the final bracket is actually seeded by how many points you get on the World Tour.
Okay.
And so if you're worried and want to get a better seed, which basically means if you're new to tournaments, you're basically slotted in the tournament with an advantage so that you can go farther based on what those numbers are. And so you can continue traveling to rank up those World Tour points just to get a better seed. If you want to gate people, you can. Gating people, you can. Just for giggles.
What's the rule on it? Let's say Dora wins another event. Does it go to the spot?
It goes to the next person in line. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if Dora's already qualified and he wins the tournament, whoever gets second place in that tournament will qualify. If that person has also already qualified, goes to the next person, and it just keeps going until we find somebody that that can get in. So
nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I'm excited to have some character diversity already. With a Bang player, because again, like that's a pretty unconventional character you don't see too often.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, he's just such a fan favorite, and he's such a cool person, and just a good person. And I'm really excited for him to make it there. So we'll see him in the fall.
Absolutely, yeah. So
sure.
Good stuff to Dora Bang. I think now we're gonna jump into BB Tag, which had a lot of exciting matches to it. The story we'd already mentioned about Jonah and Kiyame, our Japanese opponent, and eventual victor of the tournament. Spoiler alert.
So I mean, but it's crazy though, because Jonah was already in losers bracket for a lot of these footages. He was sent to losers bracket by Jan. You said,
yeah, Jan. Okay. Yep. Jan from Houston, man, very strong grappler team.
Yeah,
you know, he coming in hot with Tager and Wallstein.
It was super cool when you told us that, because like I think a lot of people who follow fighting games know Jan as like a Marvel player, and so to see him branch out into anime, it's still a tag game. But
the thing is, he was always been one of the best Potemkin players in Guilty Gear as well.
Okay.
So.
And he was always a good fundamentally player. You know, from watching him. So like, to see like his skills trait like kind of like carry over for like these type of new games, it's like impressive. And you know, he's always been around. He's just been really good.
And again, we're talking XX and X. Like, he's been playing
Chemical X.
Yeah, like he's been playing the Guilty Gear. So Texas used to have a really hardcore, strong crew, like pre-2009 Rebirth, you know, and all that stuff like that. And he was one of them, and he was always one of the strongest Guilty Gear players down there for Potemkin, and so he's been around for quite some time now, and so the fact that he's still doing well, I mean, isn't a surprise to me, but it's like...
It's still really cool.
But then, and then in BB Tag, they made Tager Waldstein like one of the craziest teams in the game, ever. Right? You know, it's like... Jeez. It's like, oh, you're big bodies. You're supposed to be slow. And Spark Bolt from across the screen. You're like, okay.
Get over here.
Yeah.
When I see a Tager with like 9 bars of resonance, I'm just like, I don't get to play neutral anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I get to like sit here and wait my turn until it runs out. So good stuff to him.
Yeah.
For the next match, we'll get it up for you guys in just a sec.
Yeah,
here we go. Bass and Jonah. It was interesting too because there were a lot of players that I know as Persona players, right? And so like my first fighting game was Persona. Like Bass, I remember as a Persona player. There was a lot of footage of Wrath on stream as well. Another Persona player where the commentators were like, "Where'd these people come from?" And it's like, no, they're like,
they've been around.
Yeah. Just because you don't know them from Persona, like us Persona people are scared of them. Like we know to be scared.
Yep.
Sorry, every time I see that Ruby Gordo start killing people, it just elicits a scream out of me.
Oh, this is my team. So when I see that, I was like, hey, yeah.
Dude, I was like on commentary, and there was a match, I forgot between which players. I think it was Kyame and somebody else. Oh, wow. And I just assumed Kyame was using the Ruby Gordo because it was like Japan high tier. Exactly. And then like after I realized I was saying the wrong names, the streamer, Josh, was like, did I just hear some Japan like racist commentary here? I was like, damn, you're calling me out here.
Well, that JC's an overhead. That's crazy looking.
So Bass being an OG Persona player, finally getting her debut in this game, and she's looking very solid. Look at that. That was a nasty mix-up. Oh my god. Please flip that.
Why do you get something off of Grim Reaper? Why do you get it?
No, that's that thing from Yu-Gi-Oh! That's like a top of the screen. I know, but yeah, he deserves that. No. Yeah, he deserves that.
Let's see if Bass she could come back from the situation.
They're super even on life, both with more resonance.
Yeah.
And Carmine too. Like look at all that
Carmine
shit.
can just get all that life back.
And that's what's the best thing about Carmine and Resonance is that he gets that red health back after.
Yeah.
Because so many of his moves, he drains his own health. But wow.
You ever see a Gordo just hit 2B at a hit? Like it's my turn. Like why do you think it was not my turn? Oh, that could be it. No. That was a good conversion though, because Jonah was too high, I think, for the combo.
But look at this.
She still has a chance right here.
That was a sick punish. That was so clean.
That was a sick whiff punish, man.
That was sick.
Good job.
Yeah, I did. And Jonah's even smiling like, yeah, you earned that.
Dude, if Jonah smiles, that's like everybody else like popping off.
Yeah.
That was a really sick whiff punish. Yeah, Gordo has these huge long-reaching normals that they have tons of recovery, and so if you ever whiff them, you can expect to get smacked for it.
I mean, one of the nice things, obviously, is on block. Since he's a Unial character, he's got the reverse beats that can make things a lot safer. But then, God, this sandwich right here.
That was such a sick conversion.
The peanut butter jelly sandwich right here.
It's like I said, every time I see it, it just makes me go, ah! What is even happening?
That whole combo was burst safe.
Yeah, and you know what's unfortunate too is they took all of the red life, so now she can't regain the red life.
Oh, made it safe. The active switch.
Yeah,
a
lot of damage.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about this game is that you really got to watch what the opponent's doing and knowing when to burst.
Yep.
You know, because at first it felt like bursts were really free, and everyone was like, "Man, this is a really powerful mechanic. No one can do combos." But then people started learning how to punish the burst with assists and everything like that, and so it really became this very detailed, and I love the mechanic of the way that bursts work, because it is an alpha counter kind of thing, but then at the same time, it's a combo breaker, I should say. But you have to use it so intelligently, and it's so much easier to like call out and just like jump and air block and punish and stuff. It's so good.
I think once like the meta evolved into like, because really early on, like you were saying, like burst felt super free.
Right.
Once we got into that meta game of just like you have to be super careful with your burst because it's pretty. We figured out how to bait.
Like that was an example of a bad burst right there. Got punished for it, but got survived. Got away with it. It's okay. Oh, that was a good GP.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. That was
still in it, and you still have with the 2 characters too, so you're gonna be able to extend combos and everything like that.
This is so scary though. Like base cannot call Carmine because he's any touch is just gonna kill him.
Wow! Second hit overhead, man.
Oh no! Just went in the buttons, and there we go.
So close. Here's the match we were talking about earlier, where the grand finals, Kiame going into this tournament and declaring to the world, "I'm coming for Jonah." After Jonah, as we talked about before, at CEO Taku won both BB Tag and CF by defeating Kiame in a super close set. Like that was one of the best.
Did he
sets.
fight Kiame in BBCF as well?
No, he fought
okay, yeah.
But that I think that set from CEO Taku last year is one of the best like BB Tag sets ever.
But then one of the dangerous things here that Kiame obviously using Mitsuru, I'm sorry.
Mitsurugi, yes.
Sorry. A little Soul Calibur in my brain right now. But, you know, Mitsuru, and she's obviously super good. That jump B is the most ridiculous move that, you know, in the game. One of those most ridiculous jump attacks. Instant overheads for days, basically.
So, speaking as a Persona player, when we were just like, they're putting Mitsuru in the game, she still has instant overhead, but she's got assists now. So, like, she can get mutiless combos off it with assists. Like, that's horrifying.
And you see how she's hiding behind the wall, the ice wall. So he can like slowly approach.
Ooh, good patience.
Bad uppercut right there.
Something to keep in mind too is that like Kiame in that match from CEO Taku, he was still playing the same team Scythe of Ruby Gord, and I really feel like he came into this with this team specifically for
anti
Ruby Gord. Yeah,
and plus another thing is like, as my Japanese racism quote unquote was mentioned, there's a lot of Ruby Gordos in Japan, so you will have plenty of practice against this team over there. So
I heard some whisperings that they think that the American Ruby Gord teams are a little bit stronger. Like they're pretty scared. They're pretty scared of Jonah because at this point they've kind of figured out the meta overseas for this team, but.
Because I remember at EVO, it wasn't quite that way yet. EVO, like US, was still thinking Blake was like one of the strongest characters and everything, and then Heiho came and just like blew everyone away with Ruby Gordo. Right?
Check this out.
Kazunoko and everybody else. So.
Yo, that was a moment we talked about before, where when you're trying to commentate this game, there's so much happening. You're just like, how do you even talk over that? Like, what just happened?
Yuji was telling me that I have to say that now next time I commentate. What the hell is even happening here?
Like, yo, how'd she get hit?
Yeah.
She got hit somehow.
See, that's this game, right?
Yeah,
like sometimes you're playing it and you're like, how did I get hit? Or how did they get hit? You know?
That situation.
Look at this extension on that.
That combo was kind of tight. He's dead now.
He's actually gonna die.
Yeah, he's dead.
That situation is so scary because when you're locked down like that with
10,000.
That's fair. Off of a low, just off of a low, throw mix up. When you're stuck in this situation, like Jonah did a really, really good video like a while back about how to fight Ruby Gord as a team. And that's a pretty scary situation where Gordo can run up and do that 2B, that big like anti-air move, or he can command grab you. And either way, like he can cancel into the Ruby assist, or tag into Ruby and convert off of it for free. So just
I need to go find that video, dude.
That was a smart idea to make it burst safe, but barely survived.
Dang. Okay. Just bursted right there. But again, with one character, it's harder to punish those, right? So unless you have a jump cancel.
Oh wow, didn't block the overhead. Got pretty
but only got good. You know?
Yeah, only got good.
He's dead.
2B from high, dude. That is almost as good as Gordo's.
I know.
So, I'm sure Gordo players will be like, oh, it's way better than Gordo's, right? So. Come on, Kenny, be honest.
I feel that way. To be perfectly honest, I'm way more scared of that normal. I'm just like, dude, he's not even that good from Gordo. Come on. Look at all the chip damage just from that one EX scythe, though. And now he's at the life.
And it's safe too, right?
It's character dependent. So you are minus. Mitsuru can do EX Droid, the stab, and it's always a guaranteed punish. Some characters can push block him and super him for it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, you also saw right there earlier, you know, for players who aren't as familiar with it, Eunice characters can change into any button as long as they haven't used it. And that's how you saw them like slide to the low punch.
Right.
You know, just to keep it safe on block.
Yo, that's a no fear 5A.
Yeah.
Like, man, you have to have like
Yep,
crazy nerves to be like, I'll wake up. Oh, another good whip punish. Just like the base mat.
Yeah, it almost like you almost saw like Kame like move forward just a tiny bit and then
Fake him out.
stopped.
Yep.
Yes.
And then that's when Jonah just swung, and then Kame was like, "Ha! You took the
You
bait."
took the bait.
Yeah. So now Kame, I think this is at match point now, tournament point.
Tournament point for him, up 2 games. Declared on Twitter before, I'm coming for you, Jonah. I want my run back from our super close set.
I mean, that's cool though, because that's again, that's creating that storyline, and now we have this rivalry, especially because, you know, spoilers, Kame kind of blows up Jonah in this grand finals right here.
God.
So I mean, because look at this, you just see this is just, he's bleeding. He is bleeding right now. Oh my God!
Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah.
He's already dead.
Stop!
Oh,
that instant
Never
overhead.
over.
And then just super right away.
Yep.
Yeah,
All the
just
damage.
not to give him a chance. Oh.
Nice DP.
Oh wow! No, I'm not even gonna block that. I don't.
You definitely want to. In that situation, it was fortunate for Kevin to DP killed because with this team, what Jonah was probably expecting is you can cancel into Ruby super right away, and the Gordo super will keep you safe for over there.
And that was over.
Yeah, that was the clinic. Right
He's
there.
like, yeah.
I prepped for this.
Prepped
Yes,
for
sir.
this.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the World Tour. Yes, sir.
Is Jonah in the World Tour already as well? Or?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
no.
okay.
But he got second
Okay.
place, so he has points.
Yeah. So CEO Otaku did not count for it. It'll be this year's
Yes,
CEO Otaku
yes.
that
This year,
count for it.
yes.
Okay.
CEO Taku isn't a part of the World Tour, but CEO is.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
As for
His hands
American,
were shaking. He was shook at that. He put his hand out like.
as far as U.S. teams from the or U.S. events, excuse me, for the World Tour left, Frosty Faustings was the first event. Texas Showdown, CEO, and Evo are the rest of the U.S. World Tour.
Dude, that's awesome that Texas Showdown's on there.
Totally, because like we were just saying before, like the Texas crew running anime for so long. There's definitely a bunch of Guilty Gear players down there still keeping it on lock. So I'm
Shout
excited
out to
to.
Javi, of course, who covers Texas
Yeah,
Showdown.
Javi is an amazing person.
Yeah. And I mean, so many good Kid Vipers from there, you know. so-
Ahmad.
yeah. Well, Hamad's in Seattle now, right?
No. He's still here.
Oh, okay.
He only
I thought-
represented Seattle because of the Red Bull.
Right. But I thought he moved there, but okay, he did not move there.
Ooh, bit of a drop. That's unfortunate. That was a Denmitsu.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Number
Ruby.
one, it's our controllers for the tournament legal.
Those combos are so dope.
Oh, like the JC loops?
Yeah.
Those are so cool looking. Oh, that was dirty.
I got hit by that.
You got the lore team here, Ruby Yang going out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yo, that Mitsuru assist auto-corrected.
Yeah, I know. Isn't Yang and Ruby sisters, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, are they? Is that what? Okay, I just know they're from the same fate. So.
Yeah. They're definitely siblings.
Okay.
Even though, yeah, I think they have.
There's some lore behind
There's
it.
some lore behind it. Yeah,
But
I
we
think
don't
they've.
wanna spoil-
I
we don't
think yeah.
God, that jump C from Ruby's so good.
Oh, what a great drop. So last legs, but that's dirty. That's dirty.
Yeah, it's like you think he's gonna go over your head, and then all of a sudden, same side.
And she converted off of that. like she like
Successfully.
Yeah.
Because the second button on that chain just reaches so far forward, so even though she's sliding so far back, the B hits low.
That's
but
the
then
most
that-
terrifying thing for me as a Persona player. She didn't have that that Gatling in
Oh,
Persona.
He's got the
yeah.
tech. Hand warmers.
Oh,
Let me
yeah,
check my
that's
phone.
right. Dude, it's so weird. Like I was at Frosty Faustings and I found one of those hand warmer packs.
Oh, they just have them around.
Yeah. And I found it and I was like, this thing is great. Yeah. And I asked my roommate, I was like, where did you get it from? He's like, I didn't put it there. And I was like, I didn't put it there. And then we got kind of freaked out. But they work really well. I was surprised at how warm those things got.
Hand warmers are nice regardless of what event you're at because like you definitely don't want your hands to be cold when you're playing.
Oh,
that's so right.
Commentator curse.
Jesus,
that's on you.
Commentator curse.
That's not even cool. That's not even cool.
Like he did block it and then you said something.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like nice, but oh, he did. Okay.
Yep. GG's.
Yeah. What's the setup for this? Okay, we just wanted as much damage as possible. Super so sick. Ooh,
but they did such a good job translating these characters. Oh man, you know, it's one of those things, you know, obviously R.A.P. Monty, but like, God, can you imagine how he would have reacted seeing his characters in this game, man.
Anybody who, you know, knows like about Monty, like, definitely was a huge Blaze Blue fan too.
Rooster Teeth, it's his group, his company, so. Yeah, but man, he would have been so.
Yo, did that catch him out of the air?
Yeah, it did. That's what I said.
Oh, nice back throw, put him back in the corner, and guess what? Mix-up time. You thought you could backdash. The assist is there.
Bro, you just crouched down thinking that you're gonna be safe.
And then he stood up right there and got hit low. Yep. So yep. Mitsuru definitely one of the high tier meta is in the game right now. Yep. I mean, is there a particular, because obviously like Ruby Gordeau is the main team. Does Mitsuru have like a particular character that she pairs with?
I think she pairs with like solid characters like Hyde. Hyde is a perfect example. Any character that kind of like has a projectile to like get her in and like let her set up in neutral, it's like very strong. So I think like I think characters like New works really well with her as well because they create so much space for her.
I was thinking Mitsuru Jin probably. Then.
Yeah.
Jin assist fireball.
Assist fireball is super good. Yeah, exactly. So it all depends. Like anything with space controlling, Mitsuru worked very, very well.
So this is winners finals here. So we did the grand finals before. This is the winners finals match.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Shinku still all the way to winners. And,
after he lost this, then he fought Jonah, and Jonah beat him.
Beat him. Beat him.
Yeah, I mean, Yang is not considered one of the strongest characters in this game, right?
Well,
that was kind of
if I'm not mistaken, she's just pretty good.
Right. She's good, but she's
not Mitsuru.
Yeah.
But she is a character that has an existence in the game.
So for Shinku to make it into top 3 with Yang is really
pretty impressive. Yeah. But her damage is so high. And he has a very good support character, so characters like Yang have a chance to like be able to show their strength.
This was sick. Like,
that's a crazy conversion.
And then into this, and he's going to extend it and kill. That was a nice extension right there. Oh, so good.
Man, this game make you feel like you did so much, man. you like put your spirit behind your punches. You know what I mean? Like you look at that. You get what I'm saying?
Yo, when she just waves by, why'd you stand there and get grabbed by me? Bye.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, this game, the amount of creativity that you can exhibit in this game. You know, I always say this about Guilty Gear, because of the Roman cancel system, that game really gives the player the most freedom. He's just holding the button so Ruby can't get in.
Yep.
But, you know, it gives the player the most expression.
What a conversion!
Oh my
God!
But he still lived, but then he sacrificed Yang to the wolves here.
That was a crazy hit confirm off of that. Yo, like Hyde's good tail's crazy.
I feel like BB Tag has a lot of that similarities to Guilty Gear, that you just have so much way to express yourself and creativity, and converting off of like little tiny hits and stuff like that. Like somehow I have a feeling that some of these combos. Oh no, you risked it. Risked it.
Risk it for the biscuit, man.
Sometimes you have to.
And sometimes the biscuit doesn't come back nice. So.
Oh hey, what's up?
Hey.
How's it going?
Okay, hang on. Oh, we just gonna jump right into this?
Yeah, we're just in grand final.
Okay.
Surprise.
And
now we're back to here.
Now we're back here.
Yeah, all chill and relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay. So
let's take it a second.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry guys, we'll talk about Guilty Gear a little bit, I guess. So we already talked a little bit about how you prep for the tourney. Were there any particular players that you were most worried about in this tournament that you had to run into?
No, not at all. The only person that I actually was really concerned about, and I play him all the time, is like Dang. And our matches is like really back and forth, and I felt like the time that we played and I approached him, I felt like I had just a slight momentum off, and I didn't let him get started. But other than that, I wasn't really afraid. I was mentally prepared for everyone. Okay. And like, to be honest with you, I was more excited playing casuals with everybody rather than the tournament because I was so focused on playing everybody because I wasn't worried about anyone.
Nice.
You know? So I was playing very good.
So obviously one of the fan favorites that we'll probably see some matches for, because I know your match with Teresa was like super. Oh my god! But
that's like everyone's saying that's probably the set of the tourney, like not just for gear, but like for the tourney in general.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta ask because like. That is a player right there who wears his heart on his sleeve to a strength and probably to a weakness a little bit, because I feel like the reason he lost the Peppery Splash was because of the emotions and he celebrated a little too early and stuff. But I mean, when you play against someone like that, like how do you mentally get yourself into a set where you feel comfortable beating someone like that, you know?
Well, I have to keep in mind that like I am a competitor.
Right,
So I have to make like anything that I can see that as a weakness, I take advantage of, you know? And I just go ahead and strategize of like weaknesses like that, you know? And I play around that, including the character. So you got to take advantage of people, right? You know, like, hey, if you're gonna like jump at me a lot, I'm going to stop and have an anti-jump tech.
Right,
So I just kind of like I made sure whatever game plan I had is I kept it that way. I didn't change it. You know, I didn't want to think twice about it. I just made sure that I stayed focused on stopping what his heart tells me, what his heart wants to do.
Since you brought up the anti-jump tech, I think one of the biggest takeaways from that set was there's sort of a general rule in Guilty Gear where a lot of characters, their far slash button is a really good button in neutral, right? It's usually fast and goes really far, but without like a counter hit or spending resources, you don't get like a big juicy combo off of it. You might tag them, but they don't get knocked down. You don't get a big combo unless you like get a really big counter hit or that meter spendage. So for a matchup like Sin versus Jam, I feel like she has to get in past a lot of your really, really good normals, right? And so what we saw in the set, and we'll go into it a little bit when we get to it, but Teresa did a lot of far slash poke into IAD to try to get in because
I prepare for that.
I gotta ask, how long did you spend preparing to reverse 6P IAD pressure?
Literally, like, for 19 days straight.
Okay, that's the answer I wanted. Because
so my whole game plan when I was playing him was every time I was like pressing a button, I made sure I was in crouch state. So if he goes over me, if he IEDs, he goes over me. So but if I stand up and I press a button, he IEDs at me, he hits me.
Jab.
So I made sure that every time I try to press a button, I was in a crouch state. So if he does decide to IED at me, I just hold FD, I OS, option select FD. So if he goes behind me, I 6P him.
Right.
And I get the close line. And then I hit confirm.
I was so curious because I was just like, is he option selecting here? Or is he guessing? Or is it a reaction? And now I know
it's option selecting and reaction.
So two things. One, why not 20 days? I mean, come on.
I'm kidding. Well, it was January 19th.
Right, No, but I mean, in all seriousness, though, for people at home who aren't familiar with the term option select, it's just being able to input one sequence of buttons to handle two different situations.
Yes.
So for you, if you hit back and punch and kick at the same time, if he stays in the front, you'll green block because it's back and green block. But if he gets over you, because it turns around, now it's forward, punch and kick, but the punch takes over the kick, and so you come out with
it was because Sin doesn't have a 4 kick,
right?
Motion. So the 6 punch will prioritize.
It was it was one of the instances where just watching you could tell how much you had prepared for that matchup.
Oh yes,
like I was like, I can't imagine how much time you spent like living this matchup because that is a pretty common approach for not just for Jam but for a lot of characters, right? You'll see like Elfelt do it a lot, like characters who when they're outranged need to convert this like footsie poke into pressure for some way.
Yes.
Like for Sin, he has like the unique ability to like special cancel into slide, into like special move pressure at the cost of the food meter.
Yes.
And so he gets this privilege of like, I have a really good forward slash that goes into pressure, but I have to manage a resource behind it.
Right.
And for a character like Jam, who doesn't necessarily have that, like the IAD is a good way of forcing that.
Yes.
But if you let them force it nonstop and you never sort of like smack them for it and be like, you don't get this for free. Like, this is not a real approach.
Right.
Yes.
They'll just abuse it. And so watching that, at least that was one of the matches I caught from Frosties that was one of the most exciting. Where I was just like, that like this is such a specific thing that like, he's prepped for.
I actually practiced, I wanted to make sure. And there were some times where I know that he would kind of like super jump, and I would do barrier, and then if I know that he's not going to do it, I come 5 punch. So I would like catch him a lot with 5 punch, but I made sure that every time like I hit him, I play hit and run.
Yeah.
So I hit him run. You know what I mean? And there's some times where I couldn't run. Yeah. And he caught me, but I definitely strategized countering.
I think that's definitely a really good approach to the matchup because like she has to come to you, and you have the button privilege in that matchup.
Yeah,
like, yo, come past this,
run to my train stop.
Come through this, come to
the far slash yawn.
Yeah, exactly. And I relate to this struggle as a Potemkin player.
Oh god,
I know.
I was Potemkin in sign, and then Johnny came out, and I was like, Potemkin who?
Feels good. A character in the game starts with a P.
Yeah, I know, right? But I mean, Sin is obviously a strong character, and he's been nerfed little by little, but not even that much, right? So he's still considered one of the strongest characters in the game right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Japan, I talked to Teresa before the tournament, and I was like, "Hey, Sin's top tier." He was just like, "No, normal." And I said, "What?" I was like, "What?"
Oh dang!
He was like normal, and I was like, strong.
You got to show him. You got to show him. You got to show him.
I was like, okay. So after the tournament, I was like, I was like, yo, Sin top tier, and he was like, you're top tier.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, cool.
Okay. That's a good enough answer right there.
That's pretty sick. Because really, when you think about it, there's not a whole lot of Sin players that we see in Japan, right?
No.
There's
a couple.
There's a couple, but that's it.
Yeah.
We see a lot more of like character specialists from Japan, but not so much of Sin. Even in the States, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah. There's one Sin that I watched in Japan that he always plays online. And he's just been like I scout him. I snipe him really hard. And I sniped him so hard to the point I sent him a friend request. And like we kind of conversate a little bit. It's like very, very little. But I just tell him upload matches, and he just uploads them. And
that's so sick. What's his handle?
It's Pure.
Oh, the Persona player, right?
Is he the Persona player?
Someone's gonna have to fact check me on that. I want to say he's a Persona player, but I might get blown up. I might have the wrong person.
There's so many Pures.
Yeah.
It's Purre. It's Purre.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks for the shout out for him. Yeah. I want to see more Sin match footage. Cool. So we're gonna get into Lasso and Peppery's match.
This was a really good match because Peppery put Lasso in losers.
Dude, I can't believe. So Peppery made top 8 last year with Johnny, who everyone considers the best character in the game right now. Then he switched to Venom, and like they said 4 months ago, he switched to this character.
He always played Venom, but he didn't play Venom in tournament. So he always had Venom on the side. He played Venom before he played Johnny, but he didn't like put Venom into tournament, right? So he just switched off, and naturally, since like Johnny and Venom kind of have the same like neutral game plan, it was very easy to like come in like coming from a charge character.
I haven't seen anyone control Venom the way Peppery Splash
does. It's terrifying.
So
yeah. Look at that, perfect. 50-second perfect. Like 50 seconds of just like I poked you 1,000 times.
Yep. There is no pool ball setup that Peppery Splash doesn't have a sequence ready for, regardless of distance or range or timing. It was
and there was some time, and there's going to be a situation come time where like there was a time where he actually hit the ball and he YRC the ball was out and he did /YRC so it could stop Elfeld from like sniping. Those little thought and mind games like that. It's like extremely good.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to bring up from just that last round we saw too. Is that a common Elfeld practice is her. J heavy is ridiculous. It's like a mad good normal, and so you'll see like Elfeld's like J Tech JS, Tech JH a lot, and 3 times in a row, like Peppery called it out with like a down shot PRC and then block.
Yep.
Like, and he would just watch like Lasso like tech buttons into it and then get counter hit.
but keep in mind, again, for those people in the chat who aren't as familiar with it, but Lost Soul was the 3rd place finisher at EVO last year. So
the farthest,
big props to him, man.
The farthest any American has ever gotten at EVO for Guilty Gear.
Yep.
Usually there's always been an American in the top 8, but then they just go out in 2nd place, right? So,
it took out tons of killers, too.
And also came from losers, too.
After he beat Nage, I still remember Nage, obviously the best Faust in the world. After he beat him, I remember he did it with a super cool call out, and Nage even like had the turn and like smile and like
I hope we get a little. I don't know if we get footage of it, but Lost Soul also has my favorite pop-offs of any player.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He tells me that he does it just because he needs to psych himself up.
Oh yeah. Well, if you've ever spoken to him in person, he is the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Like oh my goodness.
I hope. Do we have the clip of him and the post-match between him and Blaze?
I don't know. I hope we do. Because that's one of my favorite moments. Did you see the fan art of it?
Yeah, I did.
It's so good.
Oh, that was such a good base.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then Pineberry blew him up. He almost comboed off of that too.
Oh, that was missing for sure. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
All right, so this is the end, right? This is last game. And keep in mind, you were up 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
And Teresa brought it all the way back 0-2. And I was watching. It's funny, too, because, like I said, you feel bad for Teresa because of how emotional he is. And I'm sitting here in the audience yelling, "Let's go, Kizzie!" But then at the same time, I was like, "But I still love you, Teresa." Because like I
had the exact same real emotion watching it because Teresa, like we said, wears his heart not even on his sleeve, like outside of his sleeve, like, way out there. So you could tell he was really shook up about losing the first 2 games, and he brought it all the way back to this last game, last round.
God, that move right there, that's what, it's the 6H, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So good. But that was a call out right there. Some damage right there. You got the setup here.
That was good. That was a really good dead angle. Safe dead angle.
Wow, it was counterpunch. But I see what you mean now. You're doing. Oh God, what a block!
That was such a.
That was a ridiculous air throw right there.
I waited and I was like, okay, you can't do it. You can't jump anymore.
Yeah, but now that you mentioned, I see. Yeah, a lot of crouching pokes from you. Yeah, a lot of crouching pokes from you.
See, you see how I duck, and then I do a motion. So if you IDs at me, then I get in position. Yeah.
How'd that hit?
But I'm always like micro dash block and then do it. You know, just making sure.
Yeah, just keeping him locked in the corner.
So you're at match point right now. This is a winners finals here. This is the get in the grand finals here.
Yeah.
You're at match point.
See,
ooh, that's sick.
I'm always making sure that I duck and do something.
That was a good wire seat to save yourself.
But Teresa just had some of the craziest comebacks, man. He had that one against Peppery Splash.
Yup. And he popped off.
Yeah, that was the downfall right there. I think that's what caused him. But then look at this. Here he coming right at you. He's not giving you any room to breathe right now.
No.
Well, this is last legs. Like, this is like you're on set point.
Look at his conversions, too.
That was very good, too.
I remember I was watching this, and this is when I started chewing my nails, I think, at this point.
Yeah, because it's just like I'm just getting hit, and it's all working.
I thought you had this. I saw that air backdash, and I was like, you got him. And then it didn't connect barely.
Yeah,
and I was like...
Because you spent your burst on
I know,
too.
that's
But look at that face on Teresa right there. Oh, my gosh. But then, yeah, it's the last game, last round, and he came back. So how as a player do you stay calm in a situation where you were up 2-0 and now you're at the last game?
You know, like there was a couple of times where I could have ended the game and I messed up. So all I was just trying to make sure is I keep my composure playing the same game, and then it's going to work. Because it was working 2 games, so I'm like, you just need to like be a little bit more like solid, be more solid.
Look at that, you started this round great, and then Teresa just hit you with one combo, and all of a sudden it's even now.
Yeah,
that's a sick conversion. Oh my god.
Take him to the corner. I did this so he could like bit. Like if I get hit like mid screen.
Right.
Right.
But could you have extended if you had just done the straight 3 times?
Yeah, but it was very hard because she was light. She's very light.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, that was nice.
So this is the situation where I was like, yo, I won, like right here. Look, right here. I was like, oh, I won. And then I tried to throw, and I messed up.
Oh, that's what happened there.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, that's a 4 heavy. I was like, that was a 4 heavy, and for some reason he didn't land.
Yeah.
So I was like, a heart attack here.
I was like, that was throw. I was like, that was throw. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in case the people don't know, so again, he fought Peppery Splash. Teresa fought Peppery Splash in losers finals. Beat him 2-1. Didn't realize it was 3 out of 5, and he had popped off after the second game, and then
with like a super clutch win,
yeah,
like a ridiculously clutch win,
most ridiculous comeback, and then ended up losing the next 2 games because one, Peppery Splash is ridiculous. Shout outs to Peppery Splash. But then at the same time, it's just like I said, I feel like he kind of spent a little bit of his emotions there. God, what a super. Like, how do you even see which way to block?
Is that slow? You didn't hit a button?
No.
Okay. I thought I saw
I anticipated.
Okay.
I was like, he's going to do it. He's going to burn it here.
Might get a free card?
Yeah.
Safe on block?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
This is your tournament game at this point because you're up 2-1 at this point.
Yes.
But again, dude, Peppery Splash, not only, super good, but he's 19 years old right now.
Oh man, is he?
Or I don't know. I just saw the 10-year challenge that he posted up, and the first it was like him in grade school. Like it looked like a grade school.
He's probably 21.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Well, he is one of the children.
Yeah.
he's one of the children.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys that's born and raised in this environment.
Yeah.
You know? Now, also, if people aren't familiar with it, you see the W and the L's next to your name. You're still in winner's bracket. He's in losers.
Yes.
He has to beat you 2 sets. So there's always that. That's your reward for getting into grand finals on the winner's side.
But I definitely, in the back of my head, was not going. We're not going to game 4.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not going to game.
So this is still the first set. So if Peppery Splash won this, he wouldn't win the tournament. He would have just put you in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
But you are like, I don't even want to play more after this, right?
Nah, man, this is it.
Like that. Wow, you got that much damage with an air-to-air JP?
Yeah, because it's guard crank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't see the guard bar.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I like the decision to air-to-air, because a lot of Venom's normals are crazy good.
Yeah.
I'm scared to anti-air JS.
I exclusively chose my my jump-ins and stuff like that very precise to make sure that I don't take a lot of damage, because Venom damage is really outrageous, especially if he's anti-airing you. Mm-hmm. See, I get hit by stuff like that, and that's okay. It's not going, you know what I mean?
That's such a sick air throw.
That was a sick air.
That was a sick.
That was God. That was so good. So I started using DPs now because I knew that he was starting to do those.
And of course, with the food, you can cancel your DP and other stuff. It just doesn't have horizontal range, but
look at the guard bar.
So that's just the damage there. And then you run up DP at some point, I think.
That was earlier. That was earlier in the set. Yeah.
Oh God.
Drunk throw there?
Nah, I tried to scare him.
But you got it.
I hit throw.
I
hit throw.
You just baited the burst right there, and there it is.
Oh, man.
Congratulations once again, Keenan. But I mean, let me ask you this: as a Sin player, right? One of the things, when I tried Potemkin in Sign and that failed, I switched over to Sin. And one of the hardest things is, I always tried to end everything into eating to get my meter back. And, you saw even that last match, you would knock him down and then just go right in there, even with just a tiny bit of food meter there. How do you determine when to go in and when to refuel?
So if I have 50 meters, I like to go in with, if I have low calories, and I have a lot of meter, I use my meter as an insurance.
Okay.
So meaning that if this doesn't work out, I have meter to cover myself.
Gotcha.
So if I have the momentum going and I know that I can end the game here, I will play with that insurance behind me. Because I'm able to do that. But if I don't have that insurance, then I will eat and make sure that I'm just stable.
Right.
So I have that kind of thought process going on in my head, and I make sure I act within the health range.
Yeah.
So if I am wrong, then I have a lot of life to afford to get back in shape.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that was a conversation that we had a while back on the show where we were talking about resource management in Gear. Right. It's just when do players choose to spend their burst, and a lot of time you'll see Guilty Gear players burst even though they have really low life because they have a lot of meter. And so they know if you play a character like Eno, right? They're just I have a lot of meter. I can burst and then do note YRC and just win neutral one time. I can win neutral once and get in. And because of the way my character works, I can get in and run my game. And take it in 3 or 4 hits in a sequence.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of situations where in other games you might not necessarily burst here because you're just well, I'm gonna lose the round anyways. I know life.
Right.
But if your character can sort of force that one player game in Gear, if they have other resources, you'll see people burst a lot of the time. And so I feel that's kind of a similar mindset.
At Arc Revo Japan, that just took place a few months ago, they had that cool post-match analysis where they showed your life,
Yeah.
and they put the little burst symbol there when you burst.
It was the sickest thing.
That was so cool, and they even had the heart rate monitors there too. Tell me the truth. What would your heart rate monitor have been doing that whole entire time? Was it going up, or were you just chill?
I was chill.
Oh, okay.
I was actually chill.
So at Art Revo Los Angeles, we'll find out if you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
You just see being regular. Now, the only time that my heart rate goes up now is like when I see something I've never seen before. And I'm like,
I had prepped for that.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Why am I here? You know?
What happened?
And then that's when my heart rate just starts skyrocketing up because I don't know what's going on. So.
Cool. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to wrap up in just a little bit. But yeah, congratulations again on taking Frosties.
We will officially see you at the Arc Revo Finals in Los Angeles.
Yes, so I'm taking a bus down there.
No, but see, you won the free trip there, so Arc System has to pay for your travel now.
Okay, Uber. Okay, Uber pool. Okay,
you'll get a hotel. Don't worry.
Okay, Uber pool.
Yeah.
They're gonna make Yuji go pick you up.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to Uber pool with the other like qualifiers.
Yeah, or probably just the Arc System employees since we're all from SoCal. So we're all just going to Uber together.
It's just like, Zod, you need to go pick up Kizzie and bring him
But speaking of Yuji, also, and to tie it in with the Frosty Faustings things, Yuji also traveled there to Frosty Faustings as the representative, and they had a bunch of games on display, including Kill La Kill.
Yeah. So just a couple of refreshers for some of the games that are coming up. We had a demo station for it at Frosty Faustings. We had this little refresh lounge for the players where you could just come and play some games and chill out and get some drinks. As a heads up, Kill La Kill If is coming up. It's a new game that we're publishing. If you guys are familiar with the Kill La Kill anime, it's a 3D arena fighter based on that. We've shown it off on the show before, and so keep an eye for more announcements, character announcements, release dates. A lot of that info is coming up soon.
I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to Dacid Bro. If you go check his Twitter, he played this a lot, and he just posted up a ton of information on this game. So he played it a lot this weekend. So if you look for him on Twitter, you can read a lot more information from his perspective.
That'd be awesome. So, definitely getting the perspectives of strong players in the game and how the game feels at this point is really cool. You've definitely seen it on the show before. You'll see it on the show again, I'm sure, before it comes out. So keep tuning in. You'll get more Kill La Kill footage. You saw the trailer for it at the beginning of the show. There's BlazBlue Central Fiction Special Edition coming out on Switch. And so that's coming out soon. I always love having art games on Switch so you can lab it on the go.
BlazBlue Cross-Hack Battle being on the Switch is the greatest thing
Absolutely.
ever. It is. I mean, I want all fighting games on the Nintendo Switch. I'm just telling you right now, just be able to practice, not only on the airplanes when I'm traveling, but when I'm lying in bed, I'm like, wait, maybe I could do this with my team, Yuzube is what I call it. So I'll just pick it up and just try it out. I'm like, that's work, sick. And then I put it down. Or I lose all my sleep.
Well, you'll be able to do that with. So your team is Yuzu Jubei?
Yeah. So that was my secondary team.
Okay.
Excuse me, it's Yubei. All right.
Oh, is that what it is now?
It's Yubei.
Okay.
You'll be able to play Jubei because he's one of the DLC characters of Central Fiction, and the new special edition on Switch comes with him. All the other DLC characters.
All the DLC.
All the DLCs included. All the colors are included. System voices. Basically, all the DLC that came with the PS4 version is included with the game when you buy it. Okay. And so it's coming out soon, spring 2019. Keep posted for a release date for that. Also announced semi-recently at Anime NYC was World End Syndrome, which is a visual novel that's coming out on Switch and PS4. We have a couple trailers for it posted around, but it's definitely something you want to check out if you're into mystery stories, visual novels, those sorts of games. Definitely keep an eye out on that. And then next week for ArcLive, we're going to have a Switch showcase for BBC. And so you're going to be back?
Yes.
As one of our guests?
Yeah.
And so we get to see your Joy-Con Jin, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Show me the Joy-Con Jin.
I got the secret tech, but I'm going to show you guys next week.
Okay. I'm prepped for that. So Kizzie will be joining us again next week as well with Jonah, another player that we watched match footage of today, SKD.
We saw a match footage
We saw a match of him today as well. And so they'll all be on the show next week. And so you're definitely going to want to tune in for that if you're a BlazBlue fan. It's going to be pretty cool. And so to wrap it up, I guess, why don't you tell everybody watching the stream where they can follow you guys? I know you've been streaming a lot lately, so if you want to maybe show that too.
Yeah, so I have been streaming a lot. I've been doing a lot of Guilty Gear. Again, I'm going to be dabbling into other games as well, but I really want to be focusing on the tour. So you can follow me at Twitch. .tv/KizzieKay310, KizzieKay 310. You can also follow me at Twitter at KizzieKay, Kizzie_KAY 310. Okay. And you can shout outs to UYU. Please follow UYU on Twitter as well. Awesome sponsor, and they have a lot of content for people, especially you guys who support them a lot. So check those guys out.
Cool. James, anything you want to push while you're here?
Sure. I mean, I also have a Twitch, twitch.tv/jchensor, JCHESOR. I just do a lot of, try to do as much educational content on there. I also get salty a lot when I'm playing online, as many people have seen lots of clips of, I'm sure. But,
the notorious tweet that will follow you till we're all dead.
Yeah. Exactly. But again,
my kids is going to see it. Hopefully, Twitter's around.
I retweet it every time I see it.
Oh yeah,
I'll do my retweet and retweet it.
Everybody does. Yep. And,
I think it's a little fast, but
but again, yeah. If you guys want to follow me there, because like I said, I do a lot of educational content. I'm actually going to be streaming a lot this year, and I'm going to be streaming a lot of different games. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you both.
What's that?
The notorious tweet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's lore behind it too, and there's all these stories. I'll tell
another time.
Yeah.
Yes, now I gotta know the lore.
It'll be revealed at some point in time. Someone you know is involved in it very heavily.
We can't repeat the tweet on air because it's a little But if you know, you know.
It's not an ArcSys. It's not ArcSys published.
Not ArcSys published.
Yeah, it's not published by ArcSys. So we can't say anything about it.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us so much. Hope you enjoyed the match footage. Be sure to follow Kizzie and James on their Twitch channels and on social media as well. We'll be back next week with Kizzie, SKD, and Jonah for the BBCF on Switch demo. And so we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace out.
Bye, everybody.